Big time.
Big time. Big time.
The big time.
Big time. Big time. Big time. Big time. Big time. Big time.
Big time.
Big time. Big time. Big time. Big time. Big time. Big time.
Big time. Big time.
She said to me, she says, you have such a pretty face. Do you enjoy being fat? I said, I worked very hard at it. It took me a long time to get this way.
Big time.
Big time. Big time. Big time. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to Pop Culture Co-op. Oh, here we go. We're having, for some reason, the captioner just, doesn't like us today, which I think is quite funny, dealing with the
It is funny, but also we love you, captioner.
Yes, thank you
don't
for the
like us.
freeware craptioner.
Captioner, and you don't have to love us back. We're gonna love you until you can't help but begrudgingly think we're cute.
I can't tell if my internet is, making us weird, but whatever. That might be why the captioner is not working, as it might be the internet.
Oh. I hope not.
It's windy again, so we're having a second windy episode.
Cute.
Which is just our luck. So this is our Fathlete, Fat Athlete. That's really hard to say. Episode part 2. We have the awesome Snark Tank back on to talk about things. They were on the last episode, and it was freaking awesome. So we were very excited to bring them back.
They did not get done, so we're having them back on tonight.
Yeah, we were having so much fun and having so many tech issues, which I promise I'm getting a new computer soon so that I won't have as many tech issues when I do this. But also I think it's just maybe the byproduct of windy season in Brooklyn.
There you go.
Loving windy season in Brooklyn. So we're really excited to talk about some more fat athletes and what it feels like to be a fat athlete in a sport or many sports if you are Snark. Hi, Auntie V. I see you in the chat. So if you're in the chat, go ahead and say hi to us. Let us know that you can hear us. I want to hear what sports you love to do, and you can always do your bits and your cheers and all the things. You can follow us on social media at Pop Culture Co-op. There was an episode recently that was right before us of Show and Tell, which you do not want to miss. Show and Tell is one of the most fun shows we have. Snark, who you'll see in a second, also co-hosts an awesome show called Wine and Dynasty, where they go over old school Dynasty episodes, and it is phenomenal.
And it's also just an excuse to drink wine in the middle of the afternoon. We all know. It's genius. So if you too would like an excuse to drink wine in the middle of the afternoon during a pandemic Panera, then join.
Can I just say, Ashley, that you look amazing today? You just look dewy and bright.
I do?
Yeah, you just look lovely.
Thanks, Boo. I really appreciate that. See, I've got you. I really do. I want to put little glasses on my girl here.
It's me before I chopped my own hair off.
It's really cute. Yeah, before you chopped your own hair off. Let me get the full Oh, it's so good.
I was
It's
told
so good
that I look kind of like a little kid chop their own bangs.
I didn't even see it. Give me, do a little brush forward for me. I can't believe how short it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
because it was my undercut, so I matched it to my undercut finally.
I
So
love
all
it.
my hair is the same length.
It looks great. It looks
Anyway,
fantastic.
we can go ahead and bring on our awesome guest because honestly, they're just really fun and we like talking to them.
Yep. And I have a question right off the bat.
So here we're all live.
Oh,
my
excellent.
gosh.
Hi, Snark.
Hi everyone.
How's it going, babe?
Oh, it's going well. It's a Friday. I'm excited. It's been a long week. I'm ready. I have my delicious seltzer beverage.
Ooh, a seltzer
Ready.
beverage. Tell us more about
I
your
do have a
seltzer
seltzer
beverage.
beverage. It is a Arnold Palmer seltzer from Spindrift.
Oh.
It's very. You can only find it at Target.
Wow.
Wow.
And I
Sponsor
know,
us,
it's
Target.
Very weird. I love Target. I'm like sponsorship. No, but they're delicious, and so whenever I go with Ham/Larita to Target, we like clear out the shelf. So even though I have a Soda Stream, you can't get the same experience. So that's my exciting
It's
Friday
true.
night.
I'm like doing a little Soda Stream mixy.
Boom.
This is
right
a
now.
soda stream and gin and hibiscus tea weird mixture that I put in a thing.
We're all sort of like rolling in the same beverage territory.
Yeah,
love
I'm
it.
proud
Love
of
it.
us.
Bubbles.
For those of you that don't know Snark, talk us through the sports that you participate in.
Oh, okay. Let's we can go through that.
A
So,
little recap.
we'll recap on the sports that I do. So I know you find folks mostly through Derby, through the Derby verse. Let me say it that way. So I am a Derby person. I skate and I officiate. I am also a runner. I have participated in a number of long distance races, half marathons, etc. I'm also a half fanatic. So for anybody who knows what that is, I'm also a half fanatic. A half fanatic is half fanatics are a group where you have to run a certain amount of half marathons within a certain amount of time
Oh, wow.
to like make and then you have to like send in proof. It's a whole to do. I don't know what my number is, but I could look it up if I needed to. I also am a big weightlifter, and I don't feel like I brought this up last time, but I'm also a very big dancer.
Oh,
Even
you
though
did
I
not.
wouldn't say that I do that so much as a sport. That is probably one of my most favorite forms of movement. So while we're just talking about movement,
I love it.
I am a big yes. And I guess I got a new bike, so I'm now a cyclist.
Oh, I love that.
I
See,
love this.
I love going
I'm
dancing.
just adding things. We're just adding things onto.
I love.
Keep adding things. Man,
So much fun.
dancing.
I think that's the thing I missed.
I can't wait
miss
for like
most.
outdoor dancing to come back. this
Yeah,
summer.
I
It's such a
love
joyous
dancing.
form of movement.
I love going dancing. I love jumping up and
Yeah.
down. People always think that that's a little out of character for me, and I don't know why. Because I feel like that's exactly in character for me. But I like going
I feel like
to.
that's very you.
I like loud music and dancing. I don't like loud music and standing somewhere
Yeah, I
watching
like
a
it.
band.
I like
play.
it too.
Yeah, I like to shove my hands
I
over
just
my
really,
head.
God, I miss clubs. Okay, so I have a question, right off the
Yes,
bat.
I'm ready.
That I
I'm
have
leaning in.
started to attempt
Ooh.
running.
Okay.
I hate
Congratulations. Yes.
Hate it. All right.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
And I know that there's going to be a point where I'm going to want to stop wearing leggings and start wearing shorts. I also hate shorts, by the way.
Yes, I hear you on that as well.
And I get chub rub when walking.
Same.
Relatable. Yes.
Can
you.
we talk about chub rub and
Yes.
the runner's solutions to such? So if
Yes.
there are non-fat people watching this show,
Which
chub
there
rub
are.
is-
I'm pretty sure my best friend is in the chat. She is a
Oh,
straight
wow.
size person, but a runner, very much lots of running.
Right.
Chub
And I
rub
think
is
maybe this just happens to runners whether you're fat or not, right?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Chub rub, which is
Yes.
this being the inside of my thighs, right? Just
Yes.
this
Or
over-
under your arms also. You can also I get it on my
I
little
have gotten
bingo
that.
wings sometimes.
I've gotten
yeah.
the wings. I get the
Bingo wing.
I
My
get
little
the
bingo wings.
I get the thighs the most, And when I get it bad
Yes.
enough, it is like it scabs and
Oh,
scars.
yes. Yes. So actually, funny story. I'm gonna traumatize you, and then I'm gonna give you some advice.
Okay.
So my second half marathon, which was actually at Disneyland, it was Run Disney half marathon at Disneyland. I got chub rub the very first day that I got there. And I was like, oh, it's going to be fine. It'll be fine. I'm just going to put some like lotion on it. I'm going to wash it and I'm going to dry it and I'm going to be fine. Fast forward 3 days later, after 24 and a half miles, I went to go pull down my pants. I don't know if I can actually say this. This is going to be kind of
You can
graphic.
say this. There's no rules.
I'm going to say it. I went to pull down my pants after I got back from my race, and my legs were so raw that my body had like I had scabs, and the scabs stuck my pants to the inside of my thighs.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So I had to actually go and get into the shower and take a hot shower to dissolve the scabs so I could get my pants off of my body.
Wow.
So when you say chub rub,
I'm texting my husband to come do it. I'm in the chat to come do a shot.
so sorry.
With me because that is intense.
I'm so sorry.
And
I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, but that's what we're talking about.
No,
I went there.
No, I'm
But
really glad you
that's
told
real.
that.
Do you use
So
Body
lesson
Glide?
number one. Well, I do not use Body Glide. I use Desitin.
Really, I swear by Body Glide.
What is Desitin?
So okay, so you definitely use Body Glide. Body Glide is great. Desitin, it's diaper ointment.
Oh, okay.
So for me, the reason I like it over the Body Glide is not just does it give you the barrier, the moisture barrier, it actually keeps it dry, because it's like what you give when babies have like diaper rash and stuff like that. So it gives you that like silky dryness. Now it will stain your underwear and it will stain your pants.
Like a brown or a
white? like white because
Okay.
it's zinc oxide.
Okay.
So it's very hard to
interesting.
get out.
So,
but
if I wear like my good like little white underwear, like a good Catholic school girl,
While you're running,
You're all good. You're set.
I mean, you're just gonna have to like go in there with your little hand and like, get your little whites white like this.
Oh yeah, get my whites white.
But yeah, I highly recommend Desitin.
Snark and I were actually also just talking about shorts and short length, because I prefer to work out in shorts, in general, and I skate in shorts.
See, I skated in leggings for like years.
But I'm very particular about the length of shorts because I'm a short person and I'm a short big person. And so if I get shorts that are too short, then my chub rub happens and it hurts. And I spend the whole time trying to like pull down my shorts the whole time because they roll up. Or if they're too long, I just don't have a leg anymore and I look kind of silly. So
like you're a 90s Varney wearer. Did you guys wear like the parachute shorts, but then you pulled them down so far that they were like at your crotch, the waistband was at your crotch?
Oh, I mean, I do that. I'm wearing a pair of those now.
Like parachute shorts, just like way far down.
Oh, so I have a double belly. I have, as I call, the double egg.
Same.
I don't have, so I have 2 rolls, and my fat belly is 2 rolls. So I can't really do that because of how high-waisted I am. I like my pants naturally sit at my waist. So I'm very lucky because my pants don't normally roll down, but I can't really do the like low-waisted hip thing because then I'm pretty much just like flashing everybody.
So I have that. My issue is more like they roll up, like the shorts like ride up my butt crack.
Oh,
and then it's like I'm wearing undies, which like is fine for everyone because I have fabulous
I caused that
legs.
shot to happen.
But yeah, you did. You did cause that shot.
My trauma.
No, but we're talking about like, listen, as an athlete, like something that you're gonna deal with is things chubbing and rubbing and
absolutely
causing
Listen,
physical.
I that was largely.
Oh no, I'm flattered actually.
But that is a gnarly story.
It's gnarly.
Oh, it was terrible. It was awful.
And I like felt for you.
I've never had that.
It was absolutely terrible. It was terrible. So I guess what coming back to that whole part of that is Body Glide is amazing.
Yes.
Desitin is great. Do not ignore the chub rub. If it starts to happen, don't ignore it. It won't go away.
It doesn't.
It won't magically resolve overnight.
I just
care
got
of it.
terrible chub rub walking across the park in fishnets and a dress.
That's real. That's real.
And I was like, well, I can't. So I like ripped the fishnets thinking that might help. It didn't help because it doesn't help unless you have the things like, because like, listen, in a pinch, you could use deodorant.
You can.
It's
You
not
can.
perfect, but it
Hopefully
helps.
without aluminum if
or
you
whatever.
have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but if
or
you're out.
cornstarch, raid your fridge or raid your pantry, get some cornstarch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work.
But if you're a stinky bully like me and you're out with your deodorant in your bag and you have nothing else,
Use that.
It'll work.
it'll work. That was a
will
great
work.
question, Ashley, about the chub
Also,
rub.
silicone-based lube will also work.
Oh.
Yes, that is very true. It's true. If you were
You're
having
welcome.
an overnight visit somewhere and are carrying your silicone-based lube with you.
It's true. Water-based lube will not work, but silicone-based lube will work.
No, but silicone-based lube. Also, you know what I bet then would also work? Certain face primers, I bet would work.
Oh, probably any
Like,
of those
there's
moisture
like
stuff.
that-
Like
there's that
keepers.
NYX primer that is a dupe for oh god, it's like really famous. Yeah, exactly. The photo finish one, Smashbox.
Smashbox.
a
Woo,
dupe
that was.
Smashbox 24-hour photo finish, and I believe that's silicone based, and I believe that would work as well.
That I probably would. Yeah.
So
I'm not a makeup person. The extent of my makeup is like a Burt's Bees like lip balm situation. But I really love watching you two like puzzle that one out together. That was
We were like, what is that company called?
we're like, we can do it. We can do it.
a lot of you have been asking about your chub rub and what we do. So that's my influencer impression for chub rub.
I love it. I mean, listen, this is very quality content. People need to know this.
I mean, honestly, this is important. Like, and this is stuff people don't talk about because they're embarrassed, and like they shouldn't be because this is bodies.
Exactly.
right?
Right.
What are other
Thank you.
things that
Yes.
like as fathletes we have found that are primarily fathlete concerns?
I get a lot of like roll sweat.
Sure.
So like
Sure, sure.
under boob, some
Your
like
sweat patterns are a little wild.
the
My
sweat patterns get a little wild. I'm not
Yes.
even the craziest sweater like on the league. Like definitely that's not anything that's weight based, but I definitely have very different sweat patterns than other people and places that I need to, lift up to pat down a little bit more.
That's real.
I
Especially
remember watching. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I just remember watching one of those TV shows that's like, it was on that terrible channel that does My 600-Pound Life, but it was
Ugh.
like that, but they're like, no, she lives a life, sort of. Like, they were like, she's doing her best. It was like a whole...
She's a good fatty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
Like,
see, that was the conversation we had last week that made such an impact. There was something that you said, Snark or Thrasher. I don't remember which one of you said it, but it was
It was
about
both of us. Both of us. We're both amazing.
both of you are amazing. It was something
Yes,
about
we
the idea that it didn't matter how much you win and how far you get.
Oh, yeah,
Because if
'cause that
the
was
end
the goal.
result was not weight loss, you still didn't win in the eyes of many people. And it
Right.
didn't
'Cause that was
matter. And that was something I felt so deeply because like as someone who started playing derby with the intent of making a team at some point because I just like was so terrible and like had, when we talk about a derby journey, like for me, like it took me 1.5 years to pass my minimum skills. Like we're not talking about a few months, like 1.5 years of steady 3 days a week of practice before I could get on a team to now being on like the B team solidly at like one of the best leagues in the world and being on coaching and like not to like, listen, it's been 10 years. Like this isn't like a journey that took me a minute. This
But
took
own
me,
it. But own it.
I
that
think it's
you have
amazing, and
made
I'm
that
so
journey.
I'm so proud of myself, and I'm so impressed
just making
with
sure.
my.
Just making sure that you're proud of yourself.
Yes, but
Because
Fine,
we're proud
fine,
of you,
fine. We're proud of you.
but
it's
hear-
that idea that like it doesn't matter how like I skated on the Jewish team, like the international Jewish team, like where we had to try out, and I got to skate in Montreal, and like I did a good job. Like it's something that like it doesn't matter. Like in a lot of people's eyes, that doesn't matter because I'm still fat.
right.
And that was such like a whoo moment.
16-year-old me would definitely be like, "Oh, you're still fat though."
Yeah.
Like if I ran into 16-year-old me, she'd be thrilled that I had like done Broadway and stuff, but she'd be like, "Oh, but you're still fat."
Yeah.
Oh, but what I was gonna say, I want to come back to that, but I just want to drop in really quickly that that show that I was saying about the good fatty actually showed me this amazing thing, which was like, she was like, sometimes you just get too, she's like talking in the camera and she's like, sometimes you just get too hot down there and it's really hard to dry off. So this is my little trick. And she would use a hair dryer on the cold setting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
She
brilliant.
would just like point it up her skirt and dry her shit off. And I was like,
Yes.
where have you been all my life, good fatty? That is
Yes. Yep.
incredible.
Mm-hmm. A
I
little
was like,
tornado.
I've heard that in my life. Never
yeah,
in
that's
my life
great.
have I heard of that. It's genius.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely genius.
Let me tell you, like, not for nothing, when things become inaccessible to you, you become like freaking MacGyver. You're like, I will figure out how to make these clothes fit. I will figure out how to make myself do this. Like, I mean, honestly, when you have to, you figure out how to make it work. And it stinks. It stinks that we are stuck in situations where things aren't necessarily accessible, or you have to kind of jerry rig a situation, or you have to feel embarrassed because, oh my God, your body sweats. But
And you're wearing 3 sports bras.
Seriously, exactly. I mean, I can't, it's been maybe up until the last handful of years that I've actually found sports bras that work. And it has been about wearing like 3 or 4 different sports bras and figuring out how to jerry rig something where you don't feel like you're about to choke.
Yep. Or, yeah, and now when you buy the one sports bra, it invariably costs $8 basquillion.
100%. But it
Like,
works
that's what it
so
says.
well.
But you don't
Oh,
have the
definitely.
monster
Your
unititty.
kidneys. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Oh, it's only 2 kidneys and 6 basquillion?
Exactly. It's cheap. It's cheap.
Otherwise, you wear the 3 sports bras and you have the unititty.
Yes.
See, I don't even mind the unitity as long as, I mean, I'll be very honest. Like, I have a very big chest. It's not something that I enjoy. And it's been a huge problem for me when participating in sports in terms of my comfort. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't feel good when you're running and you have that weight on your body. It doesn't feel good when you're skating and you are falling forward because there's just that pull for you to go forward. When I even when I weightlift, it pulls off my center of gravity. That being said, I just want a bra that fits.
Yeah.
And I think that there are a lot of people, and not just fat athletes, but folks whose bodies don't necessarily fit into what is considered like the standard shape and size, who are like, I just want a bra where I can run and I don't feel like I'm gonna get a black eye. Like, why is that so hard?
To be fair,
and it is.
There are bras that come in one size fits all, and we're part of all. So obviously,
yeah, like I'm a person.
one size fits all is gonna fit us.
It's a hair tie.
Although to be fair, sometimes having a big chest is great for something like roller derby because it's an airbag. I've definitely saved my nose from breaking because my chest broke my fall.
Okay, so funny story. I actually have a very funny story that is related to this.
Amazing, Jara.
The day that I tried out for Suburbia, the first day of tryouts in 2018 now, I guess, I was coming out of the train station in Yonkers, as one does, and I was not paying attention, and I tripped, and I fell, and I put my knee down because I'm a very good derby person. And even though I did that, I fell completely forward because I had things in both of my hands. I could not catch myself.
Yep.
And I felt my chest hit the ground, and I felt my nose brush the ground very lightly, and I bounced off the ground. Like, not like bounce off the ground, but I bounced off enough that my face didn't hit the ground. And in that moment, I was like, thank you, Lord.
The
Thank you,
airbags.
fat gods and
Thank you.
goddesses in the universe. Thank you. Like, being fat saved my face.
So
Saved my face.
Bungee jump. It was like your nose bungeed and like almost hit the water.
And like, I didn't even have a scratch. It was like,
I feel like that was like a Deadpool like slow-mo moment where
it was
like,
amazing. It was amazing.
So on that note, we actually we should start asking you the questions that we
This
asked
is true. We'll just
that we
talk.
never asked you.
I just want to ask people, if anyone has them, to drop your Fathlete recs for life bras or sports bras in the
Yes.
chat.
And shorts.
Yes.
If you've got
Yes.
shorts. So
Email, She Fit, those are my two. Super Fit Hero,
Super
Old
Fit Hero.
Navy.
The only thing about Super Fit Hero is they're not made for short people.
It depends. It depends on what length you like. I actually don't like any of their lengths, but they are still size inclusive. I
They're
personally like
super
Old
size
Navy best.
inclusive, so they're great.
I find, yeah, I actually get a really good wear out of Old Navy. I find their stuff to be pretty good.
I do really well with Old Navy, especially because they have like that 5-inch short size rather than the 3-inch or the 8-inch, and that 5-inch is my sweet spot.
And they have compression and regular just athletic wear.
Yeah, they're fantastic, and they're pretty affordable.
Affordable, yes.
They're not like as
And their
They're
size.
made by people that we're taking advantage of. But I also think
Yes,
that,
this is true.
honestly, Dara and I have had this conversation before. Like, and Dara's point has been before, which I absolutely agree with. Dara's like, yes, but we are trying to do our best in a high capitalist society, and we are marginalized people, and we're just trying to do, you know what I mean? Like,
it's
so
like
if I
people
have
who get
to-
mad at you shopping at Shein or like any of these fast fashion. Like, absolutely, if you can avoid shopping at those places, you should. However, there is a very minute amount of cool, hip looking plus size clothing that are somewhat affordable. So we can there is an exclusionary piece and a thoughtless piece to people being so against fast fashion. Get it? Fast fashion that like they're
fat.
they're missing this opportunity where it's like it's the first time that like a fat community can find cool hip clothes that they can afford and play with and try out. Like you get like thin people get to play these like try out weird things and stuff and spend a few dollars all the time and take those risks, and fat people have Torrid, which like is fine but is not my style personally. And every time I go to Torrid to buy clothes, I feel sad because like I don't want to wear the same shirt or like it
And
all
it's
is
prohibitively expensive.
it's also extremely expensive. Universal
And also-
Standard is great. Expensive. Eloquii is
I will
great.
also add that, like, looking hip professionally as fat New Yorkers is not just like a fun optional let's get laid thing for us. In a lot of our industries, it is actually the difference between making a living wage and not making a living wage, because there is a sort of idea that fat people are frumpy and that fat people are not fashionable. And therefore, fat people already suffer disproportionately from diminished wages and lack of hiring in the workplace. So we have to be like fucking the bleeding edge of fashion in order to get hired in a lot of positions. So yes.
So anyway, that is the fast.
That
is the fast fashion rant. It's also the idea that like we live in a capitalist society, and it's very easy to blame people when we should be blaming the society that is forcing those things and the corporations that are making those decisions.
Yes,
Anyway, woo, so good. So
it's a nuanced discussion.
It's a super nuanced
sure.
discussion, and it's really easy to be like, I have a really straight thought that can't change, that like this is wrong, the end. And without thinking about marginalized, it's a lot like, it's similar to a lot of the discussions about straws and packaged fruits and things where people are like, what a waste of plastic. And you're like, this is the first time.
Foods.
And convenience foods. And it's like, this is the first time someone who has, who is not able-bodied can eat a piece of fruit without help because it's already pre-peeled. This is, straws are a way for many people who have a disability to like drink or eat. So, I think that there's a lot more nuance to these conversations than just like, these are bad, the end.
Yeah.
There's my rant for today.
Love it.
So,
yes.
snark.
I appreciate
Yes.
it. And that's a function of my privilege that I don't have to buy Old Navy.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't really either, but I do fat. I do have to be on the cutting edge of fashion for my career. So as like I work in marketing, and it's important that I look like a person who is put together and also I like it. I like being on the forefront of fashion.
Hey, let's get to the questions.
Yeah,
We've
Jesus.
got 25 minutes.
Yeah,
fine.
we
We're
do
good.
that.
We're
It was
good.
only 5 minutes. It was only a 5-minute rant.
Smooth intro. Smooth
Yeah,
intro.
such a good intro. We're excellent at this show.
I mean,
Excellent.
transitions.
So good.
Yeah.
So, Stark, how do
Yes.
you identify in terms of your body? Like when you talk about your own body, what do you refer to it as?
I'm a fat person.
Yes, I know we've already
I'm
kind of
fat.
discussed this.
No. This is a great. Listen, just because you know the answer to this question doesn't mean that everybody knows the answer to this question. I mean, probably everybody who knows me is like, this fat bitch talking about how she fat again, and it's like, yes, this is me being fat. But yeah, no, I'm a fat person. I usually refer to myself as a fat kid, just because as a non-binary human, I find that kid is a good way to describe both who I am as a human and my personality, I guess, as a human being. But yeah, I'm a fat person. I don't find anything offensive about the word fat. I think it's a descriptor, it's an adjective. It's to me, it doesn't it's not anything harmful. I think that people and society has turned it into something harmful. I'm more offended by the word obese than I am by the word fat, because I feel like it is a medicalization of my body, and a medical judgment of the condition of my fat body. But yeah, I'm a fat person. I also don't feel the need. I don't want to say feel the need. If somebody doesn't feel comfortable calling themselves fat, I'm happy to be the person to support them in calling them whatever they want to be called. However, I don't like that. I don't like for that to come to me. I am a fat person. So yeah.
Through the screen. I think that's a really good thing to point out. I'm also somebody who uses the word fat, and I love it. But I also have made the mistake once, a literal once in my life of like
One and done.
as fat people, and then realizing like, oh, they're not there. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it really only takes once to see your
It does.
face drop before you go, oh, that's not my right. Like, I don't get to own that. That's a fuck up. That's my oops. Anyway.
But you know, it's everybody. It's a journey for everyone, is figuring out where everybody feels comfortable with their own labels, not just with their bodies. You know, we figure out, we ask, we talk about pronouns. It's about everybody's comfort and their identity.
Yeah, absolutely. And so my favorite question, and this is something that is an Ashley question that has completely changed my life and my view, and I say that every time we ask it, and I don't care. I will continue to say how important this question is. As a fat person, how has being fat added value to your life?
Well, you mean other than saving me from breaking my face on the sidewalk? Because that was a pretty good one.
Other than
breaking my face on the sidewalk. Okay, so that's number one. Actually, number one most recently is going to be getting me my vaccine.
Yeah! Yes!
If you're going to base it on BMI.
Fuck your like pre-existing conditions. I don't give whatever you're going to call it. Like, I'm a fat person and I qualify for the vaccine. So I'm doing my part as a responsible human, as a responsible person in my family, in my pod, to my partner, to my league, to my friends, that I went and got my vaccine. I was able to access that vaccine at this point in time because I am a fat person. I struggled with that in the beginning, but I realized that the only person who wins by me not doing that are the people who are going to hate on my fat body. So I'm gonna get this vaccine and outlive you. So that's number one. And other than that, I think that it has, in terms of being a fat athlete, there are certain sports where being larger and not just, physically bigger, but being a fat person has really helped me. I did shot put in high school, playing derby weightlifting, you have that foundational weight that when you learn how to use and control it, it is a huge advantage. I mean, I'm not the fastest skater on the track, but like, fuck, if you're going to move me anywhere, like, oh, that's cute. That's really fun.
Good
Right.
job.
Like, that's really cute. Like, oh, that's adorable.
Adorable.
So, I think that they're adorable. So there's definitely that part of it. And honestly, and this is something that I hate to say, but it's true. When you are a fat person, or you are a person who is in a marginalized group, and something that you cannot hide, or even if it is something that you can hide, but specifically something that you cannot hide, you learn the truth about people. You learn how people really see you. You learn what people really think. And I think that that has put me at a distinct advantage for the people that I have in my life, both my partners and the friends that I keep and the company that I keep. You know, I know where people stand on certain issues that maybe they would hide in different ways. And I think that that gives me a lot of clarity in terms of who I get to surround myself with and the energy that I get to surround myself with. So I think that, unfortunately, I think that this is a terrible thing to say because, nobody should have to suffer in order to feel like they have a better understanding. But I feel like when I walk onto a field, that I'm never going to let anybody feel like they don't belong, because I know what it feels like to not belong. And so that experience has given me the insight to want everybody to belong, to want everybody to feel like they can be there, and to want to surround myself with people who also feel that way.
So the chat just asked if you call yourself a fat person in all contexts. I'm not sure what that means.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what
clarification on that.
If the chat,
I know, I'm like, Karma, what do you mean by that?
What does that mean? Like, in what context, aside from talking about your body, do you mean like in sports and in life?
No matter who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'm until like who I'm talking to. Oh, I'm like trying to check out the chat on my phone. Yeah, that is what I refer to myself in all contexts. I will correct people. Like, please do not call me fluffy. Please do not call me chubby. I'm a fat person. And actually, I really struggled going back to this, even though I'm probably like skipping questions. When I originally chose my roller derby name, the original name that I chose for myself, or the two names that I had originally chosen, I chose because I wanted my nickname to be Fatty. And I was like, it's going to be great. I'm going to force people to call me Fatty, and they're just going to have to do it because it's my name, and they can't say no. And I started talking to people about it, and they were so uncomfortable saying it, that I really got tired of forcing the issue. Like, I got tired of explaining myself. And, on the one hand, there's a part of me that's like, you should have been up for that argument with people. And that's part of, what you're trying to do as being a visible fat athlete, is start that conversation. But I did not want every single time that I talk to somebody for somebody to be like, I can't say that. I can't say that.
Yeah.
So it's, it is what it is. But yes, I refer to myself as a fat person in all contexts.
This is not one of the 4 questions. And
yes.
And also, you don't have to answer this.
It's Passover next week, so every time we call it the 4 questions, I'm cracking up. But yes, Ashley.
I love it.
I
love it.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
Why
is not like any other show?
I know. I'm like, are you singing in your head right now? Because I am. I just want to say, all the Jews are singing along. It's great.
I'm such a wannabe. But do you feel like, on the spectrum of the sports that you participate in, that in terms of fat understanding and fat activism and fat tolerance and benign body variation understanding, where does roller derby land?
Roller derby thinks that it lands in the land of complete acceptance and understanding, and everybody is welcome, and we're so diverse, and we're so many different types of bodies and people, and it's so accessible, and it's not. It's not even close. And the reason that anybody that has a large body is even accepted is because eventually people realize that those people have skate capital and value on the track. And it is those people who have fought and really, really made that space. I'm talking about both of you a little bit here, that have given any value to fat bodies in roller derby, to larger bodies in roller derby. I have heard so many times from people in multiple leagues, roller derby accepts all body types. That's not how it is.
I also think, not to yes, hard agree. I also think that in certain in non-large city leagues, there are larger bodies more prevalent.
I think it depends on the region.
Yeah, I think that regionally,
I think it depends on the region.
There are some leagues with a lot of larger bodies.
That being said, again, it depends on the type of large body that you have.
That's the one. That's the one.
You don't see a lot of bellies on the track. You might see a lot of bigger bodies, but it depends on the type of large body, the type of fat body that you have. I'm not saying that derby isn't open to larger bodies. I'm not saying that there isn't body diversity, in more so that there might be in different sports, especially in smaller leagues, especially in leagues that are not looking where the emphasis isn't necessarily on competition, but on just gameplay in general and community. I think that there's more acceptance there, but unfortunately, and I'm going to be really, really real, even regardless of the area that folks are in, though, when you start to look at the more competitive teams in roller derby, and I'm not just talking top 10, I'm talking top 50, top 100, you start to see the body type become more and more standardized, homogenized within that league
over time. Because I don't feel like it started that way.
I think that it did change over time. I think that as roller derby has become more,
definitely in the top 20, where there is a trajectory away from benign body diversity.
Yes.
And towards a unified fit appearance.
Yes.
And
that's the thing.
Air quotes.
Yes.
People started to get in their head what fitness looked like in order to be taken what they thought was seriously in a sport and competitively. And they're really missing out on powerhouses and on believing in skaters who will be powerhouses because their bodies are slightly different or are not in that homogenized, they don't look like what your brain is used to seeing on whatever Instagram as fit.
Yep.
And honestly, let's be real, 27-5 has created an accessibility barrier for skaters. And I'm at larger skaters, yes, but just for skaters in general.
Absolutely.
Because not every good skater is gonna be fast.
So for people who don't play roller derby, because there are people who are watching who are not roller derby people, there is a barrier, a minimum skill requirement in order to bout.
There was,
and there no longer is as after this year.
It has been abolished. Thank you for getting rid of the 27.
Thank you, WFTDA, which is the Women's Flat Track Derby Association. And so one of the minimum skill requirements that used to be in play was something called 27-5, which was 27 laps in 5 minutes, which was raised up when I started from 25-5, which took me 4 tries, is the reason it took me a year and a half to pass my minimum skills. I tried so many times. I finally hit it. Then I had a knee surgery and came back, and it was almost impossible for me to hit it again because it doesn't quite match what gameplay is. So it's a very silly.
Not at all.
It's a very silly
especially not
test.
now.
It doesn't. We don't skate for 5 minutes at a time. We skate for 2 minutes at a time in roller derby. At the longest, it's 2-minute jams. And
with a 30-second break.
With a 30-second break, and you're very rarely sprinting for the full 2 minutes. It's mostly about being able to go fast and stop. It's about speed control, the sport. So sorry, I just wanted to, for those who are watching who are not don't understand the sport, like this 27-5 barrier, which absolutely, like I'm 4'11" and fat. So like my legs don't cross over, like, you know, you see those beautiful skaters who are doing these gorgeous crossovers, and it's like, it's not, I'm not made that way.
And that doesn't qualify your ability to play the game and your
Or be
ability to
fast.
play the game safely. Absolutely not. I mean, not for nothing. I think that anybody who has seen you play will say that you are a phenomenal player, and it has nothing to do with speed. That isn't to say that you aren't a speedy player. I'm just saying it has nothing to do with that. You know, my big sibling, you know, in roller derby, we have our mentors who help us when we come into the league. My big sibling for many years could not bout at their previous league because they could not make 25-5, and they're a phenomenal player. Phenomenal. There's no reason for that. So while I do think that there is some diversity within roller derby that there isn't in other sports, way more than, let's say, in running, you know, I definitely don't see the same body diversity in running that I see in derby. I definitely see more of it in weightlifting. I think we see more of it now, perhaps in dance and yoga and other forms of lower impact movement. But I think that derby has an idea that it is much more diverse than it is.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Mark. All right, I'm realizing that we're getting near the end, so I want to make sure. Oh, the chat is going wild in the best way. Yeah, it's great. Let's see here. All right, so we have two more questions, and they are, and I just lost them. Okay,
it's all right. So the first one is about pop culture.
So how has your value judgments on your body been impacted by pop culture? And I would add sport to that question. And what have you done to either learn from or fight against your value judgments on your body from pop culture and sport?
Wow. Wow. I don't even actually think we have enough time for me to answer that question.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try very hard. I've been fat my whole life. So, and my mom, growing up, my mom had been fat, went to fat camp when she was 14, basically became anorexic, and which was very, you know, but at the time was not called anorexia.
No.
And became very skinny for the rest of her life. So I grew up with my mom kind of telling me, like, it's fine, you're gonna figure out how to not be skinny and how to not be fat anymore, and, you know, you'll kind of grow out of it. And I think that, especially as a child growing up in the 80s, there was always like this the storyline in like movies or shows about like the fat kid that like goes away to camp or like learns that diet or joins the track team, and then they like lose that 5 pounds and like gets that special dress, you know, like there's all these, like there's always that, like on a very special episode of Blossom, the fat girl gets a date, you know, like I think that was like a storyline that I saw played out in a lot of the pop culture things that I grew up in. But at a very young age, I also realized that I was very attracted to people who looked like me. And my realization in that was like, well, if I'm attracted to people who look like me, and I got a lot of like very positive reinforcement from other people, which is like not a great thing, but it kind of flipped this switch very young in my brain of like, well, but if I like, then like somebody's also gonna like me, and like also I actually am really good at like swimming, and I'm really good at this thing that I like to do, and like just because I'm not good at ballet and I'm not good at basketball, I don't actually like basketball, but I'm really good at taekwondo and I like taekwondo. So for me, even though there was all this pop culture-ness that was going on for me, I was not cool enough to care about pop culture. So it didn't really affect me. And then when I was 19, I went to this conference called No Lose, which doesn't really exist anymore, unfortunately. The website does, but it was basically a conference for fat queers. And I spent the weekend at a hotel with 150 other fat queer people.
Is that where you
And
met Bevan, Bryn Landingham?
that is where I met Bevan. That is where I began the very deep, like, fat activist journey and fat love journey that I've been on. And since then, I kind of was like, fuck it, I don't give a shit. Like, and honestly, I am very, very thankful that I had that experience, because I don't know if I would have had the ability to make that switch. And even after that moment, it was a very long journey. It was, reading, and at that point, like, we didn't have like Instagram, but it was like reading the live journals of the people that I heard about, reading the books of the different fat activists that I heard about. Marilyn Wan, reading Fatso for the first time, like, blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, I'm a fat person. Like, there was a long journey, but like, going to No Lose, meeting different people who were visibly fat, using the word fat, loving other fat people, that was the path that helped me just be like, I'm a fat human being. And then in coming into that, being like, it's kind of my responsibility to also be a visibly fat person. And I don't say responsibility in a light way, like, it's nobody's responsibility to take on anything, but it's like, I don't know if I would be able to love myself and my body and be involved in Derby and have started running and all these things that ultimately are forms of self-care, if I didn't feel comfortable enough in my fat body, which I learned from watching other fat people be comfortable in their fat body. And if I can do that for someone else, amazing.
That leads right into question number 4, actually, which is,
oh damn,
as a fat artist or sports person, do you feel a responsibility to change or impact the culture? And if so, in what way?
Okay, so I even though I kind of just said that, I'm gonna, I think it's a difficult question because it's nobody's responsibility. You don't owe anybody shit.
Yep.
You owe yourself a good life. That's all you owe anybody. The only person that you have to live with for your whole life is yourself. That being said, I think that when you are a part of a marginalized community, if you have a spoon, half a spoon, a quarter of a spoon, a teaspoon to give someone else who might need it, and you can give it, I think that the beauty of humanity is when we do give that. What sets us apart from the people in the world who are heartless and who have billions of dollars when other people are starving is when you see somebody crying on the train and you have an extra tissue in your bag and you give them a tissue. So I think responsibility is a difficult word. I think if you have the bandwidth to be able to put yourself out there and to be vulnerable in that way, I think it's a gift. I think it is a gift to be able to do that. And if you want to call that responsibility, then yes. But I don't think that it's required by anybody. The only requirement that you have is to make peace with yourself and your body so that you can have a happy life, period.
Yes. That's exactly it.
Sure.
I feel like that's a really good place for us to...
Yeah. Snark!
Ugh.
I have a mic. I could get my mic and drop it.
Just drop that mic. It was such a beautiful thing. I think that that's a great place for us to end it, is if you have that extra bandwidth to, that's what this show is for, I know for Thrasher and I. It's a big deal. And thank you for spending some of your spoons on us tonight.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for having me again. I mean, honestly, when I heard y'all were doing the show, I was like, so when am I going to be on the show? Yeah. So thank you. I mean, thank you so much for putting yourselves out there and for having this amazing show. I mean, this kind of content, this is putting yourself out there. These are those spoons. This is that visibility that somebody's going to see and maybe be like, I'm a fat person, then that's okay. Wow. Or whatever, or start on that journey. Maybe they're just going to whisper the word fat to themselves in their closet. You know what I mean? It's a journey. It's a journey.
I think that's part of the thing, and I agree with what you said about responsibility. I'm glad that we asked that question as responsibility, because I think some people do feel responsibility. I think I feel closer to akin to what you're talking about. And I think we do this show for fat people, but then there's also like anyone can watch this show, and it'd also be neat if a non-fat person started thinking about fat people differently. If a non-fat person stopped looking at a fat person and thinking that they were unhealthy, assuming that they were unhealthy,
Yes.
and assuming that they owe them their health.
I was gonna say, or like assuming that
Boom.
their health matter, like is anybody else's business but their
fucking
own.
business anyway.
That's right.
It's none
Anyway,
of y'all's
so we're
business.
gonna go over time.
That's
Snark.
fine. But thanks everybody for coming. Thank you, Snark,
Thank you.
so much for being our guest today.
Thank you for having me again. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
thanks y'all for tuning into Pop Culture Co-op's Big Time.
Yes, and thanks Leon for our amazing outro music, and I'm gonna start it right now. Bye, y'all.
Yes. Bye.
It's the big time.
Big time.
The big time.
Big time.
The big time.
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 Big time. Big time.
It's the big time.
Big time. Big time.